Welcome at the new episode of Race Europe. And today we're going to discuss a super important topic, which is the growing censorship in not the EU, but also in the UK and worldwide. As we've seen, for example, in the UK, people have actually been sentenced to prison for sharing their thoughts and perspectives online. And who else to discuss this topic with than with Rob Roos? He's a former MEP in the European Parliament and also a true advocate of the freedom of speech. Rob, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and to discuss this very, very important topic for our free Western society.
To start on a more personal level, why is this topic so crucial for you? Because as long as I've known you, you've always been an advocate for the importance of the freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is the foundation of our democracy. If there's no freedom of speech, we will have tyranny. And since I was a member of the European Parliament, I saw our freedom of speech disappearing. So that's why I fight for our freedoms. I think our Western civilization which is a great civilization with a long history, has achieved all of this because we can debate all kinds of topics, and because of this debate, things will be better. If you put censorship on things, then tyranny will follow, and we are really heading to that situation. It's really terrifying what's going on right now.
It's interesting because you said, without the freedom of speech, you don't have a democracy but a tyranny. And you said this before in April when you welcomed Eduardo Bolsonaro in Parliament. At that time, it seemed as a problem quite far away from Europe, because then people were actually already being prosecuted for posting stuff on Twitter or currently X, and you already said and you warned us like we can be next, but I don't think any of us thought that it would happen so fast. The question is, could this growing censorship that we're seeing been prevented?
Yes, it's not. I invited the people from Brazil because what's going on right now over there is our future. It's people are going to jail because of speaking out against the government. Elon Musk is under attack. Last days, Elon Musk announced to withdraw his employees from there because they have to censor influencers, politicians, and critical people from X. Elon Musk is a brave fighter for free speech. He also believes, like me, in free speech as the fundament of our democracy, and he don't want his employees going to jail. So now X is withdrawing from Brazil, and that was going on also a couple of years ago. It started when Lula came in power together with Alexandre de Moraes, the head of the Supreme Court over there. But this is our future. It's not happening in Brazil only. I asked them to come to explain because it's a warning. This is also happening the last 6 weeks since the socialist government took office over there. People in the UK criticizing the immigration policy in the UK are also going to jail. They are even taking 5,000 criminals out of jail to put people who expose themselves as critical thinkers on X, to put them in jail. And this is also going on in Australia, in New Zealand, and also in Europe with the Digital Services Act. We have seen the attack of Commissioner Breton on Elon Musk because Elon Musk wanted to have a conversation with the former president of the United States, Donald Trump. Two American people wanted to have a conversation with each other in public, and who is the European Commissioner Breton to interfere in that? This is, if you really think about this is tyranny.
Well, there's a lot to uncover, but let's start with Keir Starmer. If you look at a timeline, he was elected on the 4th of July, and not even a month later, he set up this thought police, basically, where you were not even able to share your thoughts anymore online. People were, like you said, imprisoned for very long periods, between 18 months and 3 years. Now, what is your take on that?
Well, you see how fast it can go. It happened to Venezuela a couple of years ago. Venezuela was one of the richest countries in South America, one of the richest countries in this world. And when socialism took over, the country went into a chaos, in a mess. They have all one thing in common, and that is socialism. And this is also happening now in the UK. Within 1 month, indeed, the UK, it's the country of the Magna Carta, who the King John, who said we should not have too much power for a king. Maybe that's where one of our the fundament of our great civilization is born, and it's born in Athens and Jerusalem. But UK, you cannot imagine that this is happening in the UK, and it took only 1 month to take people into prison for expressing themselves. I don't mention the people who are rioting and looting and calling for violence. I'm very against violence, but criticizing the immigration policy of the UK is something that must be possible. No, even stronger. We have to do that because it's just not good. It's not what the people want. It has nothing to do with democracy. Most people don't want it. So if you cannot speak about that anymore, then we have a huge problem. And I'm very afraid that we are heading in the European Union in the same direction, because we have all the signs, they are all on red, that this is also going to happen to the European Union. Breton has, with his Digital Services Act, exactly the same direction.
Yeah, because if you look at the titles of these bills that are being used to censor people, the Digital Service Act, Online Safety Bill, they sound very noble, because what they say is that they are to protect us as citizens. And I'm really wondering, who is benefiting from us? Is it really us, or is it the government that's just trying to control a certain narrative and information that is being out there, trying to limit discussion, which is so crucial in a democracy? And this Thierry Breton, you already had a discussion with him before the Digital Service Act came into full working, and you were asking him very critical questions regarding the working of this bill. Can you please elaborate on that?
Yes. Let's start with Breton. I did the negotiations on behalf of the European Conservatives and Reformers group in the European Parliament. I did the negotiations in the industry and energy committee. And it was October 2020 when I asked Breton about this Digital Services Act, because they wanted to moderate even more on the online content. And I asked them, how can we prevent that that freedom of speech, freedom of expression is guaranteed? And also the sensitive topics. I asked him about immigration. How can we speak about immigration? Can we speak about the COVID policy, because that was very actual at the time? And also, can we criticize the Islam, because this is how our Western world is built? And he said, of course we can do that. This is only to prevent the illegal things like child porn, like terrorism, and a call for violence. And so what's illegal online should also be illegal offline. That was the statement. But what we see now is there were good intentions. They have always good intentions, and it sounds really good. But in the end, it is not helping the people. This is not what you know. This is our country. It's not the country of the government. It's not the country of the European Commission. It's our country. We give a mandate to some people to govern us, to govern the country, to make our lives better. But what they are doing is make our lives more complicated. They make our lives more expensive, and they are heading, and I'm going to repeat this, we are heading to totalitarian system and to tyranny. If we don't have freedom of speech about all the topics, even the difficult topics, and again, not calling for violence, but if we cannot have that, then our democracy will end up in tyranny, because we can learn that from history. We had very dark times in the past. The Second World War started with propaganda taking over all the media and pushing only one narrative, and we know how it all ends, and that was not good.
Of course, if we see the rapid increase of censorship and how short, we're talking about a time span now, for it's not even a month ago that the rise in the UK started, the horrible killing of those 3 girls that actually caused this whole increasement of censorship. What is the next step for us if people are already being imprisoned for simply having critique on the government?
Well, self-censorship is the most dangerous form of censorship. And I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult that you, because if you speak out, you can be threatened on your income, because you can lose your job. But still, we have to do that. We have to take care of the future of our children. If we don't stop this, if we don't speak out altogether, then really we are heading to tyranny. And this is the 3rd time I said it, and it's not for nothing, because I'm really worried about our future. And so we all have to speak out, because if we all stand up together, they cannot stop us. But if only a few people have the guts to speak out, they can put them in jail, but they cannot put everyone in jail. So we have to fight for our children, for our freedom. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and this is the Digital Service Act. This is the reason why they are telling us to do this. We are silencing Elon Musk. We are silencing X, because we have to protect our democracy. It's the world. They put they put the world up his head. It's just so insane. This is our country. The UK is the country of the people who live there. They pay the tax. They can expect things from government to arrange the things in a decent way. This is also happening in Brazil, in the UK, in the United States, in Australia, in New Zealand. It is an attack on our Western society, on our Western way of life. They are attacking everything that made our Western civilization great. You have seen it also with the opening of the Olympics, our Judeo-Christian civilization. And this is what we have to protect, and that starts with freedom of speech.
You know, Rob, I think that's a very beautiful sentiment to conclude this interview, is that we should take ownership of our freedom of speech. It's not something given, it's something that we have to protect, especially in these difficult times where it seems that these superpowers are just getting away with taking away that freedom of ourselves. Even though it might be scary, we cannot allow ourselves to let fear get in the way of protecting what is so essential for our democracy, not just for us, but also for our future generations to come. Rob, I'm so happy that you were be able to be here. And of course, thank you for our viewers for watching.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. And just one message to the people. Freedom of speech is not only a right, it's an obligation. Speak out. Speak out if you want to preserve your freedom. Thank you so much.